Hello, welcome to Grammar and Writing Lesson 10. We're going to start with our vocabulary. These are words that look very similar, but they have very different meanings and they're spelled and pronounced differently. First one is statue. This is a human or animal model made of marble, bronze, possibly even iron, steel, all kinds of materials. Statues of grizzly bears remind the residents, that's people who live somewhere, of Big Bear City of its first inhabitants. That means that the first creatures to live in this place were grizzly bears. The second word is stature. So see how it's different? You just add that R between the U and the E, stature, but very different meaning. It's the natural height of anything, so how tall something is, naturally. For example, the large stature of the grizzly bear intimidated early settlers. If you're not sure what that word intimidated means, it means it scared them. Statute. Statute. Again, very similar. You just have a T there in between the U and the E. That's a law or rule written by a legislative body. For example, the city council passed a statute prohibiting trash burning. Statute. So a law or rule written by a legislative body. A legislative body, by the way, is just like a group of the government that makes the laws. And you'll learn more about that in different lessons. Time for some practice. Fill in the blank with the correct vocabulary word. The new blank written by the school governing board states that all students must wear uniforms. Number 2, the man's tall blank made him stand out in the crowd. Number 3, in the park stood a marble blank of an early pioneer. Number 4, the spectators were amazed by Bobo the elephant's imposing blank. Number 1, the new statute, not statue, not stature, statute, written by the school governing board states that all students must wear uniforms. Number 2, the man's tall stature made him stand out in the crowd, his natural height. Number 3, in the park stood a marble statue of an early pioneer. And number 4, the spectators were amazed by Bobo the elephant's imposing stature. Did you get them all right? Hope so. Okay, moving on. Here is your homework for English because again, it's review pages, so there's no new lesson to go with this. Just make sure you're doing your best with sentences. Remember, a sentence is, it has a complete thought, contains both a subject and a verb, which may be compound. You also may have compound sentences. So complete language page, language C, page 26. For writing, we're going to be talking about the writing process, because you're going to have a lot of writing projects this year in both Spanish and English. So the writing process has 5 basic steps. Those 5 steps are read and gather, think and plan, write and rewrite, check and polish, and share your results. We're going to go over all 5 of those steps right now and then talk about how we use them in a book report, because that'll be one of the first projects that you do in Spanish. So first of all, open to language page 270 if you have it. Pause the video if you need to. Number 1, read and gather. It's also up here on the screen for you. Step 1 of the writing process is the very beginning of all writing. It is reading and listening and looking and feeling and tasting and learning. Most importantly, learning. It is asking questions and finding out things. It is gathering information. It is jotting down ideas for topics, making lists of interesting information that you might want to find out more about, or taking notes from what you have read. So all of those things are part of reading and gathering. So the very first part of your writing process will be getting your information, reading about things. So for a book report, the very first step in your book report is to read the book. Number 2, think and plan. Step 2 is organizing all of the ideas that you have been learning and deciding what you want to say. So ask yourself, for whom will I write this? So who's going to be reading it? Is it just for me to read? Is it for my parents, my friends, my teacher and classmates, a newspaper? Then what kind of paper is this going to be? Is it a letter, a short report, a long report? Will it be funny or serious? Will it contain interesting facts to learn? Or will it be a description of something or someone? So you need to know what kind it is. So for your book report, that's really easy. It's a book report. What information will I put in my paper? What will my topic be? What will I leave out? That's very important for your thinking and planning and a book report. You want to know how much information. You can't rewrite the whole book in your own words, so you have to pick and choose what you think the most important information that you read is to explain your book. And lastly, in what order will I put the information? What will be first? What will be in the middle? What will be last? How long will it be? Now, most of the time, you'll be told how long your book report needs to be, or your paper, whatever you're writing needs to be. Sometimes you won't. You need to decide if you want something in chronological order, which means in order by time, or if you want it in a different order. And so that's all part of your thinking and planning process. So after you've read, decide how you're going to write it, what you're going to include, all of those things. Then number 3. Write and rewrite. So in step 3, you use all of your planning and notes to make a rough draft. The very first thing that you write is your rough draft. Writers often try to write the first draft of their work very quickly. So you just want to get all of your writing out. I had a teacher growing up when I was about your age. She called it your written throw up. So you just put it all out on paper. Writers realize that it may not be very good, but they want to get something down on the paper. This first copy is called the rough draft because it is still rough. It's not very clean, not very nice, not very polished. So it needs more polishing before it is ready to share with the teacher or anyone else. After the rough draft is completed, it is time to write the paper again and improve the rough draft. This time, look up any information which you did not know when you wrote the first draft. Make sure that you have a beginning and an ending. Make sure that you've said enough and not too much. So your first draft, your rough draft, just get it all out. Second draft, go back, fix things, put in more information, take out information. Always double check your spelling, capitalization, and punctuation, and all of those things. Then you need to check and polish for number 4. Do not quit after the third step in the writing process. Just 2 drafts is not necessarily enough. When your work is just beginning, this is when you show your best ability and character in your writing. In other words, don't give up. Use the checklist on page 271 of your language book to help you polish every paper that you write. You will make at least 3 drafts, possibly 4, of every piece of writing that you do. 1 or 2 rough drafts, 1 or 2 second drafts, and 1 final copy. So you can make anywhere from 3 to 4 drafts of your papers, of your writing. And I know that's a lot of writing, but it's worth it. That's what everybody needs. Even professional writers have more than 1 draft of what they write. You will never reach a level where just 1 is enough. You've seen Miss Ashley when she writes things even on these PowerPoint slides. Sometimes you only see, I always go back and check my work and I still get things wrong. I still miss things because you've seen it in my slides where I've missed things. So make sure that you're checking. You may have missed something. All right, the last step is to share your results. So mail the letter if it's a letter. Read the report to your class. Turn the book report into your teacher. Read your story or poem to your friends or family. Share what you know and feel by writing. All of those things. Enjoy the rewards of learning and helping others by using God's gift of language in your life. When you are doing your checking of your work, here are some proofreader's marks. So these are what you can use as you go through, for example, your first draft. And when you find a mistake, this is what you can do to your paper so that you're not rewriting it on that paper. You're just making these quick corrections so that when you go to rewrite it, you'll see what you need to fix. So the mark to make a capital letter is to put 3 lines under that letter. Okay? So you see right here, these 3 lines, you need to put them under the letter that needs to be capitalized. Okay? If you need to make it lowercase, you cross it out and write LC above it. So Sunday, school. School should be lowercase, so we crossed out the S and put LC over top. When you want to add a comma, you put that caret. The caret is this part that goes up and down. That's your caret. And then you put the comma inside of it. And you put that where you need your comma. So you need a comma in between Dallas and Texas. You put a caret, put a comma inside. Add quotation marks. Again, we have a caret, this time upside down because quotation marks are above your letters. Commas are below, so that's why it's pointy up. These are above, so they point down. So you just put the quotation marks. So whatever you need to add, you just put inside the caret. Add an apostrophe. Again, you have a caret. It's pointing down because you add it from above. Children's hour. Children's needs an apostrophe, so you put that caret in there, and there you go. Add the words written above, just a caret. So here, Paul the Apostle. You want to add the in between Paul and Apostle, so you put a caret there to show something's being added, and then write the word above it. This little squiggle to take something out, we've worked with that before, so circle it and add that squiggle, and there you go. You want to move something, just use an arrow. I only ate 2 desserts. If you decide you'd rather say, I ate only 2 desserts, you want to show that you're going to move only in between 8 and 2, you just draw an arrow from only to that spot. Start a new paragraph. I showed you this in one of our earlier lessons, and you worked with it. So here you have the 2 lines and the backwards squiggle, so it looks like a backwards P. So if you wanted to add a new paragraph right here, you've got that right there, that little symbol right in front of the sentence that you want to start the new paragraph with. No new paragraph. So this is when you've made a new paragraph, but you realize it should still be part of the other one. So you just draw a little squiggle from the new paragraph indent to where the other paragraph was. Correct the spelling, SP. You may have seen me write this above some of your own work, SP. You need to fix the spelling. Transpose letters or words. Transpose means to switch. So, for example, for so God loved the world. Whoops, that should be for God so loved the world. I need to switch so and God. So I'm going to draw this squiggle over so and under God, showing that I'm going to switch so and God. Okay, those are your proofreader's marks that you need to learn how to use. So make very special note of those. Those are on page 272 of your language book. All right, read language C, pages 270 to 273. We already went through 270 together. 271 is your checklist, so look that over. 272 shows you how you use the writing process to write book reports. And it's continued on page 273. So that's all of your writing homework that you have for this lesson. Have a wonderful day, guys. Have a great weekend. I love you so much. Can't wait to see you. Bye.